right, y'all. What up? What up? What up? What up? It's Charles J. It's another day. We talking cloth talk, fabrics, manufacturing, designers, all South Jersey. So I got my boy Francis London in the building. You know, let's clap it up for that. Clap it up for that. You know.
Yo, you funny.
Got my guy Francis London in the building. You feel me?
Yo, you funny.
Listen, man. It's a lot of people in the area doing a lot of great things. You know, whether they designers, creatives. Our goal here is to highlight all the designers one-on-one with a talk with me. You know, we talk everything down to manufacturing, design, you know, culture, anything that's going on in the fashion industry and in South Jersey. We talk about it right here. Introduce Francis London. Go ahead, bro. Do your intro.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Francis London, creative director for UglyDuklyn Clothing. And, yeah, that's it.
All right, so I know you a vet. You've been in the game for a minute, so you know, talk about, you know, what is UglyDuklyn? You know, if somebody was to see the name UglyDuklyn, what does that mean?
UglyDuklyn is a underachiever, somebody that was given the less tools and making something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's what an UglyDuklyn is, turning, you know, from a duckling into a swan. So that's what a duckling is. You know what
All right. So how long ago did you start?
11 years ago, but UglyDuklyn was like my nickname growing up. I attempted to be a rapper. So
A rapper?
Yeah.
Yeah. You never told me this story, man.
Yeah, I was nice too, bro. That was nice too, but
What was your rapper name?
UglyDuklyn, aka Tomcat, and the Tomcat meant the ultimate MC at this. So you know that's like old as hell. Even breaking that down, I was on my KRS-One shit, but
Okay, so what was the first EP? What was the name?
the first EP was called Elohim. Yeah, man.
We got to dive into that. What
Nah,
does that
we ain't
mean?
diving into
What does
that.
mean?
Nah. That's another topic.
Okay.
Another podcast. You know what I mean?
All right, so you know you was a rapper and then you turned into a clothing designer. How do you make that transition?
You know, I made that transition from staying true to the game, the culture, hip hop. I've always been in a designing though. Like growing up in London, England, my mother was a seamstress. So when she wouldn't have a babysitter, she'll take me to the factory, and I would get to see all the women in there sewing garments together. You know what I'm saying? And I actually saw the aesthetic of a piece being put together. So from there, like, I was hooked subconsciously. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been able to make that transition into fashion because I've always lived it. You know what I mean?
Okay. How long is your mom in the fashion industry?
Oh, my mom, she was a seamstress all the way until when I was 6, because that's when she went to the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she grew up in London.
No, my mom grew up in Ghana.
Okay.
And then came to London in her early 20s, and then she went to the States when she was 26, 27.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And you said you was there until you were 6?
No, I was there till I was 10.
10. All right.
Yeah. Yep.
So what made y'all move, you know, to the U.S.?
My pops, he got deported, and then he got his papers, and then he came back to the States, and then my mom followed him, and then we followed a few years later.
Okay.
So my dad.
So you, as far as how was growing up, you know, was it you middle class? Were you know?
Nah, I wasn't middle class at all.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Growing up in London, that's what people used to have misunderstood. Like, they thought because me and my brothers came from London, like, it was all tea and Krimpets. But they found out real early and real quick that, you know what I'm saying, it was never like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we grew up in housing projects, you know what I'm saying, in flats. Y'all call them apartments, but it was 8 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. My grandmom and my aunt was in one room, and then me and my cousins was in the other room. So, yeah, it was crazy.
So, I mean, most people who, like, if you was to tell somebody that, you know, you grew up in London, that would be the last thing that they thought.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing they would think like, yo, you privileged, you know, you had money to buy all the designer things, and, you know, to be infused with, you know, the fashion culture at such a high level at a young age. That's really what they thought. But in all actuality, it was the complete opposite.
Oh, complete opposite. See, what a lot of people don't know, a lot of Africans, West Indians migrate to London, just like they migrate to the U.S., but they migrate to London. The only difference is though, like in London, you know your background. Like in America, if you're black, you really don't know your roots. But in London, like you know your second or third generation. So you know what I mean? That part was dope. But like now, like it was crazy. You know, same type of violence. You know what I'm saying? Poverty. You know what I'm saying? So when we came to the States, the transition from the hood in London to like living in Chiselhurst was the reverse. It was like Chiselhurst was slow for us. It was like the country. So it was like we were real city kids coming to like the suburbs. We was like, what the hell? Like we thought we was coming to like New York, and then we got to Chiselhurst. We was tight, like
Trees and dirt.
yeah, trees and dirt. We was tight, like y'all brought us here. Like we ain't see no pigs, no chickens in London. You feel me? So yeah, it's
Wild
crazy.
turkeys, all of that.
All of that. You know what I mean?
All right, so you moved to the U.S. You say the experience was a lot different than what you thought. Explain more about the process of growing up in the U.S. and matter of fact, more importantly, growing up in South Jersey because that's where we from, that's where we rep. Okay. So talk more about that experience of growing up in South Jersey.
Okay. My experience coming from London to America was definitely not welcoming. Me and my brothers, it's three of us all together, but like we thought coming to the U.S., us being black, we was going to get embraced, but we didn't know there was a huge gap between Africans and African Americans. So when we came here, we got called African booty scratchers. We got picked on a lot, but the picking ain't last long because one thing to what we had, my brothers, and living in London, being African was like the lowest at the totem pole. Like if you were Jamaican, you was lit. If you was African, you wasn't lit. So we got joked on. So we had to fight a lot. So when we came to the States, fighting wasn't nothing for us. You feel me? So like they learned real quick. It wasn't nothing about tea and Krimpets when you was fucking with the London boys. You feel me? But
the episode gonna be called Tea and Krimpets.
Yeah,
man.
call it Tea
That's
and
what we
Krimpets.
gonna call that.
Yeah, call it Tea and Krimpets. But as far as South Jersey, you have to have a wild imagination to do what we do. In South Jersey, it's very rural. There's not a lot of inspiration. There's not a lot of things for kids to do out here. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to have a wild imagination and get into normal shit that our kids don't get into. Mm-hmm. We look like aliens. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But back in the day, like a true sneakerhead was frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like the transition. I mean, not the transition, but it was really hard for a South Jersey cat coming from rural New Jersey, Chiselhurst, that had maybe 1,000 people, you know what I'm saying, in the town. It was just hard, but wild imagination for me.
So, growing up in that environment, you say you went from London to being in Chiselhurst. Mm-hmm. How do you transition, those two experiences into the fashion realm? Because, South Jersey doesn't have a stain in the fashion industry. Like, there's no specific style or aesthetic for somebody that's from South Jersey. Like, if you go to New York, you can spot somebody from New York a mile away.
Yeah.
You spot somebody from Atlanta a mile away, L.A., Miami. Like, they have those built aesthetics that, they're easily identifiable by anybody. How did you, build your own aesthetic for your brand, but still kind of infuse some of what, South Jersey is about?
Okay, so how I did it was I studied the game first. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, if you study the game and you follow the core guidelines or the culture, you will always stand out. Now, you know what I mean? You got to stand out by having a story and showing content, but the storyline. And being from South Jersey, one thing South Jersey taught me is we stand out. And if you can make it out of South Jersey, they say you make it out of New York, you can make it anywhere. No, you make it out of South Jersey, you can make it anywhere.
It's a bar right there.
I'm dead ass.
That's a bar right there.
You make it out of South Jersey, bro, we just got the outlets, bro. Mm-hmm. We don't got no real malls except for Deptford, you know what I'm saying, or Cherry Hill, but there's not even a dope establishment that we can go to and like kick it. You know what I'm saying? We're creatives. We always gotta go to Philly. So what I did was, I just took, um, stuff growing up. Like, all right, the Chiselhurst basketball courts was
Legendary.
legendary for
Legendary.
me.
If
You know
y'all
what I'm
don't
saying?
know, Chiselhurst basketball courts always went down. Always went down after school. We used to skip school and go play.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be.
Like,
But nah, facts.
so like that, like just being a youngin, watching the old heads put me on game, teach me how to hoop, and the camaraderie. So like when I got into fashion, I always remembered like, yo, you from Chiselhurst, you gotta rep for Chiselhurst, you gotta put on. You know what I'm saying? Because people from Chiselhurst don't get to see what we've seen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my responsibility.
You feel like, do you feel like basketball or just playing sports in general prepared you for a lot of the things that you're going through right now or have been through in the last, 10 years of your
Oh
journey?
yeah, hell yeah. Because on my basketball team, I was playing for Edgewood. We was ass. We won 5 games in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? We was ass. But let me tell you what it taught me. And when I was in Edgewood, it was more, um, it was more of a Caucasian environment. It was less African American. So on our basketball team, it was kind of predominantly white. You know what I'm saying? So I got to play with, kids from rural areas that I would never play with normally. So I got to understand the game and deal with different personalities. And in fashion, you got to deal with so many personalities. So basketball helped me, you know what I'm saying, be able to be in a room with people from all different walks of life and actually understand them and talk one language. You know what I'm saying?
You
So,
feel like, you know, you say you were on a team where y'all won 5 games. That to me screams adversity.
yes.
So how did that, was that something that prepared you for the adversity that you're going through right now with, the whole fashion realm?
Yes, because it's kind of crazy how my basketball team kind of mirrors my actual fashion line. Meaning, when I played for 2 years, I was the best player. I was all state honorable mention. I played in the All Star games, right? But I played with um, um, athletes that weren't as good as me, but we all played collectively, and I somehow made them play better. Same thing as what I do in fashion. I'm not no point guard, you know what I'm saying, but I know how to facilitate and get everybody in the game, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's the same thing as, basketball and fashion. I can get a graphic designer to make an item for me, a design for me, but it only happens because of my basketball background. Because you know how you do, like, when you run flex, right? All right, when a team knows the flex, right? Then you got to do an alternate and
Or
go
a variation.
a variation. You know what I mean? Same play, but do a variation. That's what we learned doing fashion. You got to know how to do your variations. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real. I mean, I can attest to that. That dealing with adversity and learning how to maneuver and make decisions on the fly can make or break your brand.
Hell
Right.
yeah.
So it's like you're gonna be faced with a lot of opportunities to where you have to make a decision that you have to be 100% comfortable with whether it was right or wrong. So I mean, talk about one decision that you had to make that really maybe didn't go in your favor at that time, but it allowed you to learn a lesson never to make that same decision again.
Um, One lesson that I learned was trying to put people on
Mm.
and expect them to love the brand as much as you do. And once I learned that, you have to do what you need to do for the brand. Stop trying to I used to put everybody's values or thoughts about where the brand's going and put that in and try cater to what they thought the brand was. But I knew what the brand originally was and what it was going to be. And in order to do that, I had to let go of dead weight. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I learned. I ain't carrying no dead weight, bro. So it is what it is.
Now, from the fashion side, how do you have that conversation to where it's constructive and it's not damage into somebody's ego. Because I know it's a lot of people out here that ask me all the time. They're like, yo, how do you go about building a team? And I tell them that's honestly probably one of the most difficult things to do, because us as creatives, we always want control. We always want to be the decision makers. But, you know, when you bring somebody on, you're bringing them on for their creative mind. And if you don't give them full creative control, how are they able to even flourish in your system?
Facts.
So it's like, you know, how have you been able to maneuver around that and put people in positions to where they are able to flourish and have creative control when it's still your brand?
All right, prime example, my homie Big Cheddar. I feel like
Shout out to Cheddar.
Cheddar
Big
is
Cheddar. Shout out to him.
one of he's like a young Jedi, right? So what I do with him is I allow him to create because I actually know that he's great. So I let him create, but I help him with like steps of the business side, because I know as a creator he's legit, he's dope. But me being the homie, you know what I'm saying, or the big homie, I'm helping him with the business side of it. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what I'm learning, like letting people create and trusting them, but helping them out in deficiencies that you see that you can help them in. A lot of people want to just get people on their team and suck them dry. But that's not the point. Like, you know what I mean? I love how Ye, because Ye's one of my, like, I love how Ye maneuvered in the fashion game. Ye put on Virgil. He put on Jerry Lorenzo. He put on Don C. The list goes on, right? But he put them in positions because he knew creatively they're dope. And if he were to just keep them under his umbrella, we wouldn't get Fear of God. We wouldn't get Virgil Off-White. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's where I'm at with it when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying?
So, you know, I mean, you say Kanye did this for all of these people and put them in those positions. Looking back, you know, on your journey, who was able to put you in positions to be able to be successful? Or did you have to put yourself in those positions so that then you can then reach back and then give those opportunities to other people?
I had to do it myself.
Okay.
I never had somebody, help me, put me in position. But what I did do was I now have leverage, and I had to work hard to get that leverage. And meeting creatives like you that hold the culture to the, like, you preserve the culture to the T. And I always tell people how me and him met, you know what I'm saying, how you asked me a simple question, and I knew from that point, like, yo, you cared about the culture. You know what I'm saying? Because only a person that cares about the culture is going to ask another creative certain questions that,
Challenge them.
yes, only you have to care. You know what I mean? If you did not ask me that question, I would have been, probably I would have been in another room with somebody or had that opportunity, and had they said that and I didn't know, I would have fumbled that bag. You understand what I'm saying? So, to your point, like, yeah, man, it's like upholding a culture, you know what I'm saying? And just having faith in you. But when you get there, you got to put people on, because what happens is in this culture, when you get through the doors, you don't see yourself. You know what I'm saying? When I went to the Magic Trade Show, it was a very eye-opener for me. The brands that I faithfully loved did not look like me. There was nobody there was no such thing as a black creator for all the top 10 brands. There was not one. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was like, damn, we really need representation. That's why I love putting people on, because I want to see my people. I want to go to Magic one day and walk down the whole aisle and see Puerto Ricans, Africans, Trinidadians, blacks, Asians, you know what I mean, whites, whatever. But I mean, like, when it comes to street culture, we invented it, and we don't own shit to it. Like, the top 5 brands ain't black owned. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at as far as, like, helping my people, because I love how Ye did it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like in our culture, the conversation of ownership is often overlooked?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, because in our culture, what most of everybody wants to join a top brand, right? They want to align themselves with Adidas, Nike, Puma. So from the jump, we don't even have respect for ourselves, or we don't even have self-value. Because if Nike came to me and I turned Nike down, everybody would look at me like I'm crazy. But my question is to all those, what has Nike done for a creator that's given them full 100% creativity? Full.
I don't think you can walk in a room and even get that ever. It doesn't matter how much stain you have.
Oh, no, you can get it.
I'm talking about for you to walk into a boardroom at Nike
Oh, yeah,
and to
yeah,
get
yeah.
100%
Oh,
of
that's
whatever
not
you're trying to
happening.
put out, you
It's
never
not
can.
happening.
And I feel like something that I see, and this is just my perspective, you know, and you can, you know, agree or disagree, that's fine. I look at it like, at times I feel like our people are afraid to take responsibility for the entire process.
Hell yeah.
We relinquish control for things that we don't want to be held accountable for.
Facts.
Like, you know, if I'm a, you know, say I'm a sneaker designer and, you know, Nike comes to me with a deal, yeah, that's a great deal. You know, I get distribution, I get marketing, I get manufacturing, I get all of that. But at the same time, it's like, am I afraid to go and do it on my own because I might fail?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that I see within our culture so much. And that's the reason why artists is signing 360 deals. And, you know, basically, you know, it's modern day slavery at that point.
Hell yeah, it is.
You know, so like if Nike was to come in with a deal for you, how would you want to structure it? And if it wasn't structured that way, would you walk away from the table?
Absolutely. Yo, let me tell you something. If Nike's coming to me, then that means there's other opportunities. It has to make sense for
That's
me.
real.
It has to make sense for me. And it has to be a play that it's going to generate not only me and my kids, but, yo, I have a lot of responsibility coming from where I come from. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just trying to catch I'm not trying to catch a bag. I'm trying to have generational wealth. So when I'm gone, I have a system in place where it's going to continue feeding our people for generations. That's my goal. So I'm not chasing the bag, because Nike can come and give me 10 million. We could sell out, but then when I want to come back with different colorways, Nike could say, nah, we don't want them colorways. We ain't bringing them out. Matter of fact, we going to shelf your shoe for 5 years. We ain't going to release it in 5 years. Now that 10 million they gave me, I'm stuck.
Right.
Because 10 million is not going to last. That's not generational wealth, bro. So, like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it.
So would you take the approach of just trying to develop your own sneaker at that point and taking that risk?
Me personally, I would have to really want to make the sneaker. I mean, that's why I would decline even Nike, because if we're going to do a shoe, I want to do my own shoe. I don't want to take a Jordan 1 silhouette. I don't want to take no silhouettes. We're going to make a shoe from the ground up. And I got to get it got to be a 70-30. I'm not doing 50-50. You know what I'm saying?
You
You
think you was going to get a 50-50?
Oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But
bro, you might get 20%.
But that's how it be.
You might get 20%.
20%, I agree. But, you know, it's okay to say no to them. It's okay to say no to them. Listen, prime example, right? Ye being as influential as he is, having the classic albums as he is, he had issues over there. So what do you think? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't have Ye power, so you know I'm coming in there. They're looking at me like, yo, we like your wave. We going to whore you out and then move on to the next. So, yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that. I have conversations with a lot of people, and we talk about this conversation of, if Nike was to come with you with a deal, what would the terms have to look like? And probably 70% of the people I talk to are, oh, I'm taking the deal because it's an opportunity that I may have never had, and it'll put me on the map. And at that point, you know, my next question always is, you know, what are your values? How do you determine success? You know, because the decisions that you make for your business are always going to be determined off of your values. So, like, you know, if we were to sit, we sitting here right now, how do you determine success? Like in the fashion industry right now, how would you determine success for yourself? Not necessarily for the industry, but more so just about, you know, how do you sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, I'm successful at this point. Like I'm not saying you're content, but how do you determine that success?
I feel like I gauge my success on, all right, my pieces, whatever I put out. If somebody purchases it and executes it like I saw it in my brain, I've won, I'm successful. This person that I don't even know purchased an item and wore it how I envisioned it. That's success for me. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody that I envision that's fly as hell, and out of the blue, I see them purchasing an item.
Mm-hmm.
That to me solidifies my success, because that's what we are in it for. I'm not in it for 1,000 likes, and I'm not in it for my piece to sell millions and man everybody wearing it. That's not what I came in for. I came in to produce an item that I see in my head that I want to give out to the world, and somebody actually sees my vision and executes it. So that's where I see my success at as far as in fashion.
So my next question would be, how do you get people to buy in to what you're selling? Because I feel like that's a question that I get in a consultation all the time is,
Okay.
how do you grow an audience that's loyal to you and loves everything that you do?
Yo, you got, first of all, your audience, if you don't believe in your shit, they're not going to believe in you. People only believe in Francis London because Francis London believes in Francis London. That's it.
That's real.
That's it. And also, too, people that are starting to fuck with UglyDuklyn is, you know, your consumer has to know that you care. A lot of you brands don't care about your consumer. I care about my consumer. We don't play around with shipping. Our packaging is on point, and we learned about packaging through you when we did the pop-up shop. You know what I'm saying? When I saw how you was packaging your merch, I was like, oh shit, because sometimes as creators, we got so much going on, we don't pay attention to some of the small details. So when I saw that, I was like, no. We ain't gonna be doing this and asking our consumer to spend their hard-earned money and give them some bullshit poly bag and say thank you. We're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta care. And once people see that you care, like when you put out a product, prime example, let's use Gucci. When you buy a Gucci bag or a Louis bag, you know why people continue to buy it? Because you could see the quality, you feel it. You know damn well, yeah, it's 2 racks, but they put in time and work into this bag. You know what I'm saying? Some creators want to charge you $2,000 for less quality, less work, and your consumer might buy it, but they're not gonna stay loyal. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it.
I mean, with us we've been in the game for a decent amount of time. I'm not going to say we vets in the game, but we've been in the game for a minute. And, I try to tell people all the time that it's more so a matter of you got to have a 1+1 strategy.
Yes.
It can't be, I'm going to go from 0 to 100 and maintain that, because, that's a LeBron James. That's that 1%. Yeah. And everybody can't be in the 1%, because if everybody was in the 1%, it'd be more than 1%. So it's like, you really got to work on a 1+1 strategy. You got to, build one customer at a time, build that relationship with that customer, send that personal note with that package or that item. So like, what are some things, that you started to do, whether it was an in-person transaction or, something that you did, customer service wise, because I feel like that's a huge opportunity in our community too. Just based on, who we are. Like, I feel like sometimes we have an entitlement to a customer.
We do.
And in all actuality, you're never entitled to anybody else's money, because they're hard earned and they get to spend it where they want to. So like, what steps do you take from the customer service side? Because I feel like this is something that we never talk about.
So I'm gonna give you a prime example. Somebody ordered an Edgewood Duck T-shirt, the Basketball Diaries.
Throwback joint.
It was sold out, right? So I hit them up and said, "Yo, listen, my bad. It's on the website. It's sold out, but you can get an alternate T-shirt, and I'll toss in a hat, right?" The person was like, "Okay, thank you for reaching out. We respect that." Boom. Then, like maybe a week later, that very same person I seen through somebody else posted that their birthday was coming up, right? So what I did was I went out and I got the shirt, and I sent them the medium that they originally asked for, and then I printed out a happy birthday printout, put it in a package, sent it to them, didn't tell them, and then they slid in my DM and they was like bugged out, like, yo, I don't even know how you knew or whatever, but like you got to, like, those are moments. Now that customer is always gonna remember that.
Yep.
Is always gonna remember that. And now when we come out with a drop, she's gonna be like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna spend with him because I know he got a lot going on, but he took time out of his day to get me something that I originally wanted. You know what I'm saying? And I could have just been like I could have been a dick and been like, all right, let me send you out the wrong shirt and just play stupid. You know what I'm saying? But you know, when people spend money with you, you gotta, really, take care of them. You know what I'm saying? Take care of them.
Do you feel like black businesses or black brands are held to a higher accord?
You need to be.
Well, no, I'm talking about from the consumer side.
Yes.
So
Yes.
do you feel like the black brands or, minority-owned brands are held to a higher accord than, an H&M or a Zara or,
Yes.
some or some type of LVMH-owned brand like Gucci, Burberry, whoever? Why do you feel as though we're held to a higher standard and can't make mistakes?
We are held to a higher standard because of the self-hate that we grew up with. So we feel as though, like, prime example, right? If we're dealing with, all right, if you deal with a black customer, most of them, they want discounts. They come to you devaluing your company off rip. If you got something, damn, why I gotta pay $200? I can pay $150 from Nike. So they devalue your shit from rip, right? And then they want you to give them top quality, but then want to ask for a discount. You know what I'm saying? So yes, we are held at a higher because we look at ourselves in you and we expect your shit to be on point because we like good quality. So yeah, we gotta be. That's why I've been able to thrive and you've been able to thrive is because, I hate to say it, we don't maneuver like a quote-unquote black-owned business. Our shit be on time, our quality be on top, like we actually handle our business. And I'm not saying that that's what black people do, but I'm saying like majority, because I do business. I've tried to do wholesale business with black companies and it's been terrible. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just talking about experience, but we about to change that because we've had people tell me and your brand, because I cop from you too, and the way you do customer service is very different, and we're changing that narrative. So I hope that a lot of black brands that are out there, man, like, yo, you really got to work on your customer service. You can't be agitated because we go 0 to 100 real quick. You know what I'm saying? And we feel like, when Dave Chappelle says when keeping it real goes wrong, we have a hard time with separating keeping it real and being a business. You know what I mean? You know how many times I swallow my pride because I got to say, yo, bro, this is business. This is business. We can't be the angry black man or black woman when you're dealing in business.
Because the stereotype is already there.
It's already there.
It's already there.
It's already there.
If we already act within that light, then, we're just proving them right in the grand scheme of things. But on the flip side, I'm going to go hop to the other side of the fence of the whole like customer service side and, being a black owned business. Do you feel like the moment that we make one mistake, it kills our brand?
No and yes. No and yes. And no meaning depends on the person or the brand. If they know that you put in that work and you fucked up one time, all right, cool. And you make it right. But if you out there like, fuck it, we put it out there and we didn't give two shits about you, meaning the product wasn't that great, you try to scale back on the material, your packaging is subpar, your delivery process.
So I'll give you a prime example. Designer bought T-shirts from H&M, never took the tags out, screen printed or sent them out to the customer.
Yep.
Is that something that...
It's disrespectful.
Elaborate on that.
It's very disrespectful because you're telling me you're a brand and you went and got an H&M shirt and then put your logo on the shirt, but you still have H&M in the tag, yet you're going to charge me at a price point that's probably higher than that H&M shirt itself. So it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful because you didn't take the time to actually come out with a garment that represents your brand. That's what people are like. It's very disrespectful.
So now this kind of transitions into the next part, that I really wanted to touch on, because this is conversations that we have all the time about, the difference between wholesale and manufacturing, cut and sew, all of those things. So do you feel like if a brand doesn't have cut and sew, they're not valid? Like they can't be validated?
No. I just got in the cut and sew this year. That didn't take away from my brand being a brand, and cut and sew doesn't validate me for being a brand. You just know sometimes what you need to do. There's gonna be for me there's gonna be times where it's better just to do wholesale. Not everybody wants a cut and sew garment. You know what I'm saying? Some people like their garments to be boxy. Certain hoodies, they want them to be boxy. Certain hoodies that are cut and sew, only the cut and sew kind of consumer wants that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because let's take the average consumer. Their body type is not built for the cut and sew type. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of brands do wholesale. You know what I mean? It ain't too, when you start getting into couturing and, you know what I mean? Like with the stuff that you do more, your stuff is more couture, and you do a lot of, but even your wholesale comes out like it's cut and sew because you do the measurements. Your average measurements ain't a wholesale measurement, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So, no, I don't think cut and sew validates if you're a brand or not.
So another question would be, how do you take, because conversations I've had post-COVID. Before COVID, I was like, yo, if you wholesale as a brand, you're not official. Like, you can't call yourself a designer if you're doing wholesale. Like, that was my whole mindset. And I was just ignorant to, information that was out there that 90% of big brands are actually doing. Most big brands actually have a wholesale structure, and they have a cut and sew structure. I used to be ignorant to that thought because I was like, yo, if you're not designing it yourself, it's not yours. But I had to retract myself and humble myself when COVID hit.
Yes.
Because it's like, all right, the Chinese manufacturers aren't open. So now I either have to, find a new manufacturer and try to go to Pakistan and build that relationship in a short time frame for an infrastructure that's not even 100% set up yet in that country, right? Or I have to find a way to shift my business. I had to dive into a wholesale strategy. And now, looking back at it, everything does happen for a reason. And me being able to jump into a wholesale strategy allowed me to elevate my business because I now have a product that I can offer my consumer consistently with minimum time frames as far as turnaround. And then I have my cut and sew that I can come in with, once or twice a month and really just, go off the wall with those types of designs and still have my basics. How did you maneuver like that to get, your basics for your brand, but then still have, your phenomenal handbags that you have?
Okay, so, and to piggyback on what you just said, when you did that wholesale move, you found out one thing that was common with your cut and sew. Your consumer fucked with you regardless. That's what we get in our heads for. You got in your head like we do. I want to be a designer, and designer means I got to design and draw and sketch and cut and sew. Now I'm a designer. No, my G. You can go get a wholesale shirt and design a logo and screen print it. That makes you a designer. And you learned like, damn, I've been a designer this whole time. You know what I'm saying? So, and for me, that's what I knew. When I talk about learn the game, I studied the game. So I learned what Ralph Lauren did. I learned that, wait, why does Ralph Lauren have chaps? Why does Ralph Lauren have purple label? Why does Ralph Lauren have black label? I'm like, damn, this dude got like 4 or 5 brands under him. And there's a reason why, because he understands that there's different markets for his brand. There's a different consumer for everything. One consumer might not like that little horse. They might just like the chaps. They might like the price point of chaps. They might not can afford the price point of polo, right? And then somebody could say, you know what, I ain't trying to be regular like everybody and buy the average polo. Let me get purple label. And you got somebody that be like, man, purple label, that's too cheap for me. Let me get the black label. And for those who don't know, black label, Ralph Lauren, it's not, you got to know what black label is, and you got to go to the stores in order to get it. And it's request only. So, like, there's levels. So that's when I knew, like, when I studied, I was like, yo, all right, I know I want to get into luxury, but still stay, to still have Ugly Duckling on streetwear, affordable items, but at the same time, now I'm getting to the luxury realm, and that's where I'm going with it right now.
So basically, market segmentation is what is going to allow you to be able to cater to different audiences,
Yeah.
but not devalue your brand in that process.
Yep.
So I know you have Ugly Duckling. That's considered your mid-price.
Yes.
So then, Swan Lake would be considered your luxury.
Yes.
And describe more about the Swan Lake business model. How does that operate in the midst of an Ugly Duckling?
Okay, so, all right, so I tell everybody there's a storyline, right? So just think about it, Ugly Duckling, right? When the Ugly Duckling was born, Ugly Duckling didn't know much. It had to go into the world and go through a lot of things. So Ugly Duckling right there, that's face value. That's why the price points is low. But then when he became,
they're not low, medium price.
Medium price.
Medium price.
But then when he
low is your H&M.
Yeah.
So we
yeah.
mid price.
I'm sorry, we mid price.
Gotcha.
But then when he became the Swan, that's when the maturation of him becoming or she becoming whoever they are. They understood who they were. They didn't care about what the outside world meant. So now the garment is fully complete. That's why we came out with the Swan Lake series, and that's why it's luxury, because now this is a piece that's complete. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's why we have the swan with the cattails, and we, when you think about a pond, it's smooth, it's soothing, it's nice, it's luxury. It gives you that vibe. But when you think Ugly Duckling, you think of swamps. You know what I'm saying? So like, we just wanted to separate that, you know what I mean, and give that consumer that may not get into the streetwear realm, but when they see a piece of art like that with the price point and the quality, they can afford it because that's what they like. You know what I'm saying?
Now, how does that challenge you as a designer?
Oh man!
Because like with Ugly Duckling, you have a specific type of aesthetic that you've created over the years, and now to jump into Swan Lake, you kind of got to challenge yourself to try something new that might not be in your comfort zone. How do you hit that transition? And one, how do you hit that transition? And two, how do you do it successfully?
I did the transition by surrounding myself with fly dudes and fly women. You're one of the dudes I always keep myself around. Cheddar is one of the guys I keep myself around. My son, him being 20 and being fashion forward and fly, he's on that different level, like meaning I'm still stuck in that 90s era, but my son's very fashion forward and sees the future. So I'm around him too, because he wears shit that I wouldn't wear, and he be pulling it off. So I get that from everybody, you know what I mean?
It's because he looked like Drake.
Yeah. He got that Drake vibe going on, but I surround myself with very fashion forward people, and that's how I'm able to execute it. Because in my mind, I always say, damn, all right, would Cheddar wear this? Would Charles wear this? Like, I look at people that I look up to as fashion gurus and gods, yo, is my man Black, would he wear this? And that's how I'm able to execute, because I think of those who those who I know are fashion gods and fashion icons. Maybe the world don't know about them, but I make it to where I know for a fact if they wear it, it's a hit.
So you talk about having the right people around you, to be able to put yourself in a position to be successful. How do you not saying get rid of, but how do you transition away from people whose energy or, mindset is not on the same level as yours in your brand?
It's called block. All right, prime example, and I, I'm very candid.
He blocked me like twice, so I'm just letting y'all know that now.
Nah, that never happened. But I went through that. I went through a transition where my homies I grew up with, they looked at me as the bull from high school, so they could not fathom that the bull that they grew up with is a fashion god, meaning or a fashion guru. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of hate came. You know what I'm saying? And with that hate, and you've been to a lot of events. I've never introduced you to somebody and said, "Yo, this is my day one."
Right.
They don't come around. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. I'm not mad at that, but I understand. This is what happens when you become successful. The friendships that you've had for years, you find out like, damn, they were only with you because of a benefit. But when they know you don't need them, you know what I mean? That's where the hate comes. So I was just able to block them and keep it pushing. And at the end of the day, I've met people within like you, like who like my birthday king took me out for my birthday and treated me like you knew me for 20 years. My day ones ain't do that, but I'm not mad at that because that's why they're no longer with me. I blocked them, I don't fuck with them, and I'm okay with that. Like I don't care because people like you and people I've met that are in my circle, I may not know them long, but the stuff y'all done for me and the encouragement. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Like the main reason why is because I got no encouragement from my homies. It was always hating. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like all right, prime example, me doing what I've done at Rec Philly, or when I transitioned and we did a pop-up here, or just putting out the boxer shorts or the duffel bag. You know what I mean? Like you would think like they'd be like, yo, bro, like, yo, that's dope. Yo, we behind you. In actuality, you get no support. They don't want to buy your items, which is cool because most of my homies that I grew up with ain't swaggy. They still stuck in the 90s, so they still wearing Parasuco jeans.
Come on, man. You showing your age right now.
Hey, it's all good, but they still wearing Fat Farm,
Thanks.
Rockaware. I don't wear that. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know what I mean? So I just got rid of them. But here's the flip side of that. Once I got rid of them, yo, I'm not gonna lie to you, my W's have been 10 times greater, and I get to celebrate it with people that actually are happy for me. Now I do have very few day ones, but I'm talking about the dudes that like people normally saw me with. You don't see them with me no more. But I just want the world to understand, like, it ain't like, yo, I got lit and I said F you niggas. Nah, it's I got lit and the dudes that I fuck with was hating. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it is. You got to just get rid of them, bro.
Nah, it's
That's it.
something, something my
It's
mentor
hard.
told me. I tell you this a million times.
Yeah.
You're a average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, if you trying to be a millionaire, you got to hang around 4 other millionaires, 5 other millionaires.
Hell yeah.
If you trying to be successful, you need to hang around 4 to 5 other people that's successful. And I'm not talking about hanging around them, once every month. I'm talking about you need to be infused in their lives and figure out, how can you stay connected with them on a level, because everything moves off of energy. If the energy's not right, you're going to be stagnant, extremely stagnant. And you have to be okay with letting certain things go so that you can elevate and get to the next level. And people got to understand, listen, just because somebody's not in your life for that season, it's not that they going forever. They might return in another season. That's fine. But you have to focus on you and develop yourself.
Oh, I don't want them returning back. Once they're gone, they're gone. And it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing, I think in our culture, what we do, we always want to come off like we're a real one and we stay 10 toes down. But, yo, why are you going to stay 10 toes down to somebody that's not 10 toes down for you, bro?
That's a bar right
like,
there.
why?
That's a bar right there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, bro. So, moving forward, you know what I'm saying? For those creatives that are going through this, man, yo, dead them at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody you could take with you on that journey. You know what I'm saying? So leave them where they at because they don't understand where you're trying to go. And my homies did not understand that. So I'm cool. They just gonna have to see my success from afar and say, damn, I should have kept it a buck because I could have been there with him. You know what I'm saying?
So, what do you feel like was that moment? Like, what was the moment that you understood that, like, my energy can't be accessible to everybody? Was it a specific thing that happened? Was it,
Yeah.
a series of things that happened? Or was it just you being, frustrated over a series of things that you were like, yo, it's time for me to, make my exit?
Oh, nah, I'll give you a prime example. Like, being around the homies that they once, a lot of them they ain't get fresh kind of dudes. So every time I would come around, the mood would switch and women would gravitate towards me.
Energy be different.
Energy be
Energy
different.
be
When you're a
different.
fashion type of person, women they sense it. They I don't care. A woman loves a man that takes pride in his presence, his getup, right? So when I would come in the room, I would steal the room without talking. And when I got to when one of my homies told Shorty like, yo, don't mess, you know what I mean, hating,
Right.
that's when I knew, yo, this circle, I gotta leave because not one of the homies that was there said to my man, yo, chill, like, that's the homie, like, you can't, like, once I found out that none of that happened and it was cool, it's time for me to be out because if you talking to somebody and telling them not to mess with me and then at the same breath you telling them that's the homie, you don't look right. And for me to actually see that, and women tell the truth. When you're a genuine dude, they see it and they tell you like, yo, look, oh boy, that really ain't your homie. So that's when I had to make that exit because I ain't want to, because situations like that, you can end up in life-threatening situations. You know what I'm saying? So that was when I knew it was time for me to make my exit.
So, what's next, man? What's next? I mean, you got the boxing shorts. They out here. They ready to go. They selling. What's the next step for
The brand?
Francis? Nah, not even just the brand. What's the next step for Francis London?
Man, the next step for me, to be honest, I got 3 things that I'm working on. One thing I'm proud about, my relationship with my kid's mother is on point. Like I'm working on personal relationships because I feel like in order for me to be successful all the way around, I want my business outside of UglyDuklyn to be legit too. I want that. So what's next for Francis London is actually, just having peace, having peace. All that success is cool. But then when you learn, those successful guys or women like Kate Spade committed suicide. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite actors of all time, Philip Sizemore, he committed suicide. Like, and then you say, damn, bro, you had the money, the cars, the fame. Why would you do that? Because their personal life was not. They didn't have control of it. So for me is to have my my personal life in order. You know what I'm saying? So that's the next for me, my personal life. But if we're talking about like as far as UglyDuklyn, Francis London, I'm trying to get a store, man. That's my next thing, man. The store.
Listen, let's put that out in the air, man.
Yeah, man.
Because you already in one, about to be in two.
Yes,
So we.
Yes, I'm working on 2. That's the next thing, and I'm expanding and coming out with like dope products. That's it. Yeah.
Listen, man. If you was to run into yourself 10 years ago,
Oh shit.
how would that conversation go?
I would tell him, yo, bro.
You're not as hot as you thought you was.
Yeah, bro. This piece that that you think is legit, it ain't gonna be legit. It's gonna take you 10,000 hours to perfect your craft. So I would tell myself 10 years, early, like, yo, just keep pushing forward and stay loyal to the culture, man. I'm only flourishing, in my opinion, because I stayed true. That's why it took me so long. I stayed true, man. I stayed loyal to the game, to the culture. I read up on my heroes. You know what I'm saying? So.
Do you feel like with the pressure of social media,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure of other people,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for you to sell out?
I mean,
Not you personally, but just for the average person.
Hell yeah. We just had, remember, we just had a conversation about a line, and everybody wants to do collabs, right? So if I did collabs with 4 brands, 5 brands, or 2 brands, 3 brands, to me, you know what I mean? Like, nothing wrong with collabs, but like what happened to being different and wanting to set your own lane and be a trailblazer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everybody wants to be attached to something. Nobody wants to just take the full responsibility and doing it on the muscle. Everybody gotta align themselves with big brands. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to have big brands come to me and I tell them what I want and dictate to them how we gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel that.
that's it.
So this is gonna wrap up the
Okay.
first episode. I got a fashion guru, genius, Francis London sitting next to me, bro. We just went in for about an hour.
Yep.
Gave y'all more than enough gems, more than enough information. This is not gonna be the last time that y'all see Francis London with Charles J.
No.
We got some stuff that's cooking up.
Yes.
Like I said, it's Charles J. It's another day. We back in the building. Cloth Talk, talking manufacturing, design, aesthetics, culture. We talk all of that. Clap it up for my guy Francis London. You know, came in, killed it. First episode. We got some heat coming up soon. We got some good guests. South Jersey natives. We're going to have some people from out of town coming in too.
Yep.
But we got to cater to the South Jersey culture first because we on the way.
And real quick, man, I just want to say shout out to you, Charles J. Shout out to Warren for what you guys are doing. Like, out here, this is unheard of. So I encourage everybody out there that wants to be a creative in media, fashion, beauty. Avenue Black at the Gloucester Outlets is where it's at.
All right, bro. Listen, man, you ain't about to have me shed no thug tears on camera, but let people know where they can find you at.
They can find me at I am Francis London on IG.
Spell it out for them.
I-A-M Francis Francis London LONDON I am Francis London, and then follow Ugly Duklyn UglyDuklyn. Follow Ugly Duklyn Clothing, and that's it, man.
All right, man. I gotta hit you with a quick rapid fire, real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
You gotta say the first name that comes to your mind.
All right, bet.
Or the first thing.
All right.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite sneaker of all time.
Jordan 1, the Jordan 1 Black Toe.
Favorite designer of all time.
Kanye West.
Do you eat booty?
No.
All right, y'all. We out of here, man. We have a good time. We have fun. That's what we do. But we talk fashion. We talk business. It's Charles J. This is Cloth Talk. We going to exit out on this one. I'll holla at y'all in the next episode. Tomorrow we have Teron Hyatt coming in.
Teron, my guy.
Wise guy. Wise guy's coming in the building tomorrow. Be sure to be tapped in, and then, we will keep this party rolling. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Peace.
Feel free to follow me at the Charles J.
Yes.
And my website is bycharlesj.com. Check it out.
Yes.
Urbane, Avenue Black. We got All Day coming, which is another brand that we're going to be releasing. Be sure to check it out. Stay tapped in with me. Love y'all. Deuces.